Alright, we made it inside Midsummer Screamings. This is our 3rd year, so I'm excited.
Definitely. It's crowded, but probably will get crowded more later in the day.
The Hall of Yuletide Spirits. With all the little haunted mazes. We're about to hit these up first. Mr. Floats.
Exactly the one that we saw last year.
It's probably in a different room.
Yeah.
That's cool. Creep show. The same pizza truck, but it's attacked by gremlins.
Yeah, this time it's gremlins.
There's one inside the car. Look at that. I'm gonna be honest, there wasn't that many houses this year. It was way more last year, but it was still fun.
It was still fun. There was the one that we went to like in the middle of the year. They were here.
Oh yeah, they were cool.
They were fun. And the
Valley Fright Nights.
Yeah.
Which one? There you got the Santa crew coming behind the Grinch.
Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. And of course, no panel about Christmas horror could be complete without Robert Brian Wilson from Silent Night Deadly Night. So thanks so much for having us. I just want to give a quick shout out to David Martin and his great team for hosting such an excellent event for a second time in a row. And I can't be more honored and humbled to be here speaking about my new book, but most importantly, as checking in with my folks back home said, you know you made it when you're on a panel with Scott McDonald, Eric Freeman, and Robert Brian Wilson. So I really thank these guys as well. I absolutely love you guys. So just, we have a full hour here to talk about Christmas horror and my new book, which I'm super thrilled about, came out a few months ago. So what I'd like to do is just kind of tee up what the book is about, but also float into some of the historical aspects of the Christmas horror subgenre, and of course get some first-hand anecdotes from these fine gents to my right. So the book that I wrote, it took about 2.5 years to get from seedling to completion. It's called A Scary Little Christmas, A History of Yuletide Horror Films, 1972 to 2020. And of course, 1972 is one of the most important landmarks, because that's really the first time that we see on the silver screen a Psycho Santa in the Amicus Productions version of Tales from the Crypt. A couple years after that, of course, in the early 1980s, we see some limited theatrical releases of other Psycho Santa films, which are now cult classics like Lewis Jackson's Christmas Evil, and to a lesser extent, To All a Good Night. But of course, all of the fans of Christmas horror really put up on the pedestal as being the ultimate Psycho Santa film, of course, is Silent Night Deadly Night, which birthed its franchise, the 2011 reboot, and gave us really some really cult classic moments in both the first one and the second one. A little bit of a tonal shift with the second one, but not to say that it's any less great than the first one, with 2 stellar performances by these fine folks here. But what else my book covers is really the thematic breakdown of the subgenre. The book has 10 chapters, and it's kind of broken down, as I noted, with the first chapter being dedicated to the Psycho Santa film. But there's other great chapters about, the sci-fi horror crossover with films like The Brain and Decoy, and even Night of the Comet, which Kelly Maroney told me personally is definitely a Christmas horror movie. One aspect of that really started to change your perception of the film, of your role, that you ended up carrying, right, from that moment forward for quite a while. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, nicely put. What happens is, I don't know, when your film gets canceled, and your goal was to pursue Hollywood and do the best you could, and get roles, and learn the craft of acting, and just the wonderful experience that all offers. And so here's my first film, and it gets canceled. And so I never really looked back at it. I kind of put it in the rearview mirror. After that, I did a few other things, but with regards to the film, I never really looked at it again. And it was at the 30-year anniversary of the Egyptian Theater here 8 years ago. Scott Schneed, one of the producers, invited me to the event, and I decided to go. But as Matt just alluded to, for 30 years I ran this. As we do, I ran this negative tape of the film, that I had done something bad, that, it was just kind of a negative reflection on that part of my Hollywood existence. So, cut to the 30-year anniversary, and then I watched it with a crowd like you folks that have seen the film a number of times, and my perception of it completely flipped 180 that night, because I realized then that you guys enjoyed the film for an entirely different perspective than what I had perceived it for 30 years. So, thank you. At that 30-year anniversary kind of opened me up to the fact that you guys appreciate the film, and that I didn't necessarily do anything terrible. I was just an actor standing in line trying to get a job. And so for the last 8 years, it's been a true pleasure hanging out with you guys. guys and meeting you and seeing how you enjoy the film and how you enjoy it during the holidays. My perception for 30 years has been changed to the last 8. Thank you very much.
To me, while researching, the making of this film and the great human impact this had, this aspect really struck me as being one of the most fascinating aspects of the film. For the uninitiated, when the film did finally come out in November 1984, it was only in theaters for about 4 weeks before it was pulled. There was a controversial marketing campaign in which there was TV ads running during prime time on Sundays, where families were gathered around the TV set back then, and they were seeing these images of a man dressed as Santa Claus, not the Santa Claus, committing heinous acts of violence. And conservative groups and parents across the nation were just flipping mad about it. And like we just heard, the film was literally canceled. Yes, it did make its money back in that 4-week run, but it had such an infamous reputation. And the reaction by critics at the time, which I will not repeat because it was so negative, just attacked the filmmakers, the actors, the producers, everyone associated with the film was just obliterated by these negative comments. And as we learned, it really had a toll, not only on the actors, but Charles Sellier, the director, it greatly impacted not only his career, but the rest of his life. He lived with this feeling of guilt and shame, and unfortunately died prematurely. A lot of his relatives over the years have kind of spoken out about how much that really hurt him as a person, not only as a professional. So one of the things that I was just thrilled about is to see the life cycle of the film come back with new generations of viewers.
So Gustavo, what'd you think of the panel?
That was fun.
What was the title of those movies?
Saturday Night, Deadly Night, and Part 2, and Jack Frost.
And the first Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, those, in the previous clips, I'll show you some questions some things that were talked about. So it was fun. It was our first time attending one of the panels.
Yeah, they were really fun to hear and talk.
Yeah, because usually we don't have time.
Yeah, but yeah, we have time.
Toe purses. Do you want a toe purse?
Yes.
That's cool. right, guys, there you have it. Raining in California on the day that we come out to this convention. But yeah, we had a great time. Saw a panel, ran into some cool people today. Had a lot of fun. Obviously, the Krampus is the best part of it. Can't wait for the next convention. I think it's CreepyCon in Ontario.
CreepyCon, yeah.
It's gonna be it's a good lineup of people. So
We were already talking to the person selling tickets, the booth.
yeah,
So
it's gonna be a lot of people there. So can't wait. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
bye.